begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome to the final review of the evening, and it's been a long one. But that's to be expected when you have to blitz through 4 reviews in an evening. Anyway, so yeah, here's the main event. Not only a game you've heard of, but you probably already own, like Dragon Ball FighterZ. Yeah, so ever since this stepped onto the scene last year at E3, it's been hyped up, not just by, the usual marketing forces, but, the audience seemed very hyped up for that. And there is a very simple reason for that. This game looks like the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually looks like the show. If you want to see how far we've come in terms of 3D visuals, go play Budokai on the PlayStation 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just go look at anime games from the PlayStation 2 era. They do not hold up.
No.
Nor did they really translate the essence of a property into the gaming space. And now we've got a game like FighterZ. I mean, even something like Xenoverse still didn't, look like the show. Like this looks like the show.
Yeah. Something of note if you're watching the stream, though, I had to turn my graphic settings down, or else OBS would just drop a lot of frames.
But, it's like, I just want to point out, the miraculousness is in the fact that this is using the Unreal 4 engine, as opposed to being something that's cell shaded or otherwise 2D, which is obviously much easier to capture the look of. But anyway, in addition to looking like the show, it's got a lot of the other elements. It's got the sound effects. It's got the voice cast, both Japanese and American voice actors. It's like if you listen to the program, if you listen to Dragon Ball Z either in English or Japanese, you will be well acquainted with the voice talent on display. Not sure about. I don't know. We never asked about European countries and if there's a French dub or a Spanish dub or anything like that.
The Steam page I don't think mentioned other than English and Japanese as far as dubs. Hello?
Hello?
I'm still here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you guys dropped for like half a second. I didn't know if my headset did that thing again.
Okay, I just wasn't saying much.
Anyway, as I was saying, this franchise isn't just, America and Japan. It's worldwide.
Yeah.
I know there's a big Latin American community for Dragon Ball. Also had a really good dub. I've heard the Mexican version, and I actually preferred it over the English dub back in the day. Anyway, continuing on the production values. So the weird thing is the music. I don't know if this has come up much, but here's the thing. It doesn't have the classic Dragon Ball music. like either the Faulkner score or you know it's probably due to the Japanese plagiarism.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, it's like I know why they don't have the original Z score because of the plagiarism.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't have anything from Dragon Ball Super. It doesn't have anything from Dragon. It doesn't have anything from Kai the Buu Saga or anything like that. It's completely original music done kind of in the key of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, like if
You
you
know,
didn't know what you were looking for, you'd say, "Oh, this is Dragon Ball music."
yeah, it's like it fits the setting, but unfortunately, it's a fair bit more generic than certain Dragon Ball Z scores. I'll say. Uh, I'll be honest. The replacement score to Dragon Ball Z Kai was fucking awful, but there's a very good reason why that was. It had to be put in very quickly because it turns out that score was fucking ripped off. So what can you do? Like, in terms of mechanics, uh, it's a bit of a push pull between the casual and the hardcore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this like it's among the more accessible fighters out there.
Yeah,
Um, very flashy, very arc works. You know, um, you're uh, this isn't a fighter. This isn't street level, insane combo mastery. But on the same token, it's not as shallow as it looks.
yeah. Like if you know
Yeah.
what you're doing against somebody who doesn't, you can literally combo them to death, and there's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
There are deeper systems like the Z Reflect and the flying through projectiles.
I mean, as would be expected if an Arc Systems Works fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this one also kind of has a easy mode of like you can just button mash and be okay.
Yeah, it's like pulling off super moves is pretty easy. It's all quarter circles and button presses.
Mm-hmm.
Like to get
And-
free golden freeze, it's just quarter circle back, right trigger.
Right. Like, believe me, any fighting game veteran is going to be right at home here, maybe feeling a little insulted compared to not even just like Street Fighter or like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
Trying to keep some. fucking
God, I
combos.
still have a fucking notebook full of Mortal Kombat codes.
Mhm. Hell, even executing the top tier stuff like the super attacks is pretty easy. Just is it? Trying to remember. I think it's quarter circle away in the right bumper, or just
Grab
quarter
bumper and trigger. Either one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and switching characters is pretty easy. And there are there's a vast tutorial system, both in its own area and for whatever reason the single player mode has the tutorial stuff as well. I guess if you miss the tutorial stuff, in the tutorial area, they still have it there.
Whatever game.
Yeah. So, speaking on the single player mode, this is the weakest part of the game by far.
There's a plot there, but the fights
No,
that they hang the plot on are mostly just fights versus gray versions of other characters.
Okay, actually, we're gonna have to go deeper with this, because the plot-driven single-player mode was absolutely a selling point of this game
Yeah.
because this was sold as being able to play the television show, and it's sectioned off like the television show. That is to say, it's got 3 original arcs. that you can partake in, and the character, you know, it's a bit like Injustice in this way that you're playing this for the character bits in between the matches, and what happens in between doesn't matter so much.
Yeah.
And you can tell this because the endless clone fights. I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna get bored of this mode far quicker than you'd expect.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, you do have to go through this mode to unlock another one of the key selling points of Dragon Ball FighterZ, and that is Android 21.
Who is like the main original character for this game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And officially,
which it makes sense. You unlock her by doing the story, which is like mostly her story or story about her.
Yes. And she's also she was officially drawn by Akira Toriyama. So now how much all of this matters in terms
Adam, you dropped in the middle of sorry.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
now we
Mhm.
can.
You dropped off in the middle of how much that matters in terms of, but it seemed like you picked up from that.
Okay. In terms of canonicity, this takes place after the Goku Black arc in Dragon Ball Super, but before the Universe Survival arc. The
Mhm.
the key bit here is before Universe Survival, because the likes of Beerus, Hit, and Goku Black are playable characters.
Well, and there's also another person here who's kind of spoilers for that arc, so
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, and they do make in the single player mode. There's a lot of references to where they are in that particular moment in the timeline. They will reference stuff that happened in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. Maybe not so much Dragon Ball because nobody watched it.
yeah. Raise your hand if you've watched Dragon Ball. No hands, okay.
Oh man, I was really hoping I'd be able to play as Tambourine.
Like, anyway, jeez. There's still a lot to cover with this game.
Oh yeah, almost
Guys-
like it's kind of
Oh,
deep.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's content packed. There's the lobby area which you might have saw before, and there's stuff. It's all
There's
in
what?
game, but
You dropped again. There's what?
don't do that. Like, there's a currency system. You get Z coins from completing missions and completing fights. Some of those missions are dog easy. It's just, visit this training area. Visit this. Do some ring matches. So, ring matches is basically the multiplayer mode of the game. And can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's another weak area, at least on PC. Like, the matchmaking isn't so good. A lot of people have been having problems with it, so much so that Bandai Namco is addressing it with a patch that's coming out very soon. At least, actually, I think it's going to be 2 patches.
Yeah, there's one in late February, so in the next few days, and there's going to be one in late March.
Mm-hmm. And it's not hard to see why, because the player base, at least on the PC version, has been dropping fast. Like, it's dropped 80%. how much of that is because of like people just playing through the story mode, and how much of that is because the online being shit is not known. But clearly, it's big of enough. It's enough of a problem where Bandai Namco has to address it forthwith, and it's good that they're doing that instead of not like so many other games that exist out there. But yeah, Dragon Ball FighterZ has been doing well for itself. It shipped 2 million copies like first week, but that's kind of getting outside the scope of the actual review. Though a bit of a news update from the interview we did a couple weeks back, we do have confirmation on the first DLC characters. To the surprise of probably no one, it's Brawly and Bardock.
Oh man, superpower whiny baby and Goku dad clone.
Yeah. Oh boy, only like the two most popular characters from the movies showing up here. Like, beyond that, yeah. I mean, what would have been like a real surprise? Something like Lord Slug.
Yajirobe.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about from the movies.
Yeah.
That one guy that was the bad guy from that one movie that fought the Link guy. I forget if that was Janemba or not.
Just be glad that Garlic Jr. is nowhere to be found.
We don't know that for sure yet.
They're not going to waste a DLC slot on fucking Garlic Jr.
Actually, he could be an interesting joke character because he's tiny. And then he's huge.
Size doesn't mean that much in this game.
Yeah, have you seen Krillin?
Yeah, it's like, it's not hard to hit Krillin or Gotenks.
Oh, and no, you want to hit Gotenks.
Yeah, like, oh no, it's not hard to hit Gotenks at all. Believe me, I used him as a punching bag.
It's called catharsis.
Anyway, Ogre, do you have any thoughts on Dragon Ball FighterZ at this point?
I have to say that as a fan of Dragon Ball in general, it's probably one of the best looking Dragon Ball games out there to date.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably suggest that even if you aren't a fan of fighters, you should probably pick it up as a whole, because it's just kind of a fun Dragon Ball game.
Like,
I'm curious to see what else they got for DLC. Bardock and Brawly are kind of this bog standard, yeah, just get them in and get it over with.
They mentioned there should be 6 characters coming, I believe.
Is that total or 6 more?
6 more.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 8 DLC characters.
Probably one of them is going to end up being Jiren.
Possibly. I hope we see some people from the Universe Survival arc.
Well, that's what Jiren's from.
Yeah. If not them, then the Universe 6 guys that got introduced, like the
wolf people.
Kappa and Frost.
I'm talking more Kale and Khalifa.
Oh yeah, they definitely were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of picks from that arc because, well, there's a lot of characters from that arc.
Yep.
Yeah. So, pricing. So this is where things get interesting because there's a lot of pricing tiers. So, the base game costs $60, which is
because it's a full price AAA-ish game.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you've also got Dragon Ball FighterZ Edition, and you've got Dragon Ball FighterZ Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, and do we have any idea what those include? Because I really couldn't tell.
I'm surmising here because it doesn't really mention on the store page, but FighterZ Edition is probably with the Season Pass, and the Ultimate Edition is, well, the DLC that's available now, and the Season Pass.
Well, and there's also, for consoles, I believe, the Collector's Edition that comes with the statue.
Yeah, but we're, that's a collector's edition. I'm not sure if that's how available that is right now.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so
It
yeah,
looks like the Fighter's Pass has the DLC characters.
the Fighters Pass is all the DLC stuff, and I don't know, whatever arenas or whatever else that they develop, and the DLC that's available right now are pretty insubstantial actually. They are the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan lobby avatars, like
Just say Super Saiyan Blue.
yeah, Super Saiyan Blue and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta unlocks. Like,
And Goku.
yeah, that's what I said. That's less DLC and just unlock.
Well, I will say, Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta were pre-order bonuses, and before when Namco Bandai or when Bandai Namco did this kind of stuff, the pre-order bonuses were unattainable if you didn't pre-order.
So yeah, now they're available separately for like $3.
$3. It's actually kind of surprising how little DLC there is.
I'm
Considering
not sure what's in the Ultimate Edition though, because the additional DLC is like $5, and the Ultimate Edition costs $15 more than the Fighters Edition.
Mm-hmm. At any rate, not sure if we'll do an update to this. I suppose it depends on what in terms of DLC gets released.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
if it's just additional characters, I don't think that's enough for revisitation.
Yeah.
Usually DLC has to be pretty substantial for another crack at it.
Yeah, like if they added another arc to the story mode, maybe.
Ultimate Pack includes the Anime Music Pack, which will be available in like a few days.
Well, that explains the music.
Yeah, and the Commentator Voice Pack.
Oh,
I'm
right,
like-
that.
Yeah, I'm like, there we go. So that's why the music's not there, so they can sell it to you. I'm like, trying to refrain from using curse words over that, just on general principle.
So yeah, if you want those, that's what it is. Presumably, at the time that they come out, they will also be available as DLC separately, probably.
Yeah. And like I will mention there are also some like empty spaces here in the lobby. So maybe DLC would add something to those and we could, consider looking at this again.
Mm-hmm.
As it is right now, it's a pretty solid fighter. It's just the most you'll get out of it's arcade mode and multiplayer mode if you can get it to work.
Yeah.
I mean, there is local co-op on
Yeah.
most platforms, right? So
Yeah, even Steam has local multiplayer.
Yeah, the single player is just it gets boring. So
One thing I mentioned in the writing room is the problem with the AI in this game is it's either not aggressive where you can just, infinite combo it out of existence, or it's master level hard. There's really no in between. Like the story mode is mostly just the non-aggressive, hey, just bludgeon this thing to death. And you don't really start seeing hard AI until...
it's just Grey Krillin. I don't see what you're waiting for.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, well, yeah, that's what that's what I mean by it being not. It's
Yeah.
The clone characters are.
Any final thoughts on Dragon Ball FighterZ here?
I mean, if you wanted a Dragon Ball Z Arc System Work style fighting game, this is that game, and that certainly is a style of fighting game that it really hasn't tried before. And there have been a lot of attempts at Dragon Ball fighting games, and not all of them have been good. So this one is pretty solid.
The The less said about Ultimate 23, the better.
didn't
I
say
was gonna
anything
say
about
Final
it.
Bout, but sure we'll go with Ultimate 23.
But yeah, it's the most accessible fighting game I've ever played, so I would recommend picking it up if you like fighting games in general.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually, this one with the auto combo being, decent and stuff, even if you're terrible at fighting games, you can probably not suck completely.
As long as you time a guard decently, you can mash your way to victory almost. Like,
Mhm.
obviously, if you're coming up against somebody with actual skill, they're gonna hand you your ass. But,
Yep.
like, two, normal people going at it, you could have some fun.
Right. So that'll about do it for Dragon Ball Fighters, and that'll about do it for our review blitz here. Not as painful as I was expecting.
Mhm.
Now half the roster was pretty, dinky in comparison. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
two short,
yeah,
low feature games makes it possible.
yes. Don't worry, we're going back to our, next week is 2 games, and such. So, anyway, the week ahead, starting things up, on the proper interview shows and everything. On Tuesday, February 27th, we'll be having Daniel Santos of Stage Clear Studios. On Wednesday, February 28th, we will be having John Warner of Over the Moon Games. So yeah, we're going to be talking to the Fault guys again.
Ooh.
It's like, also, schedule update on the Wednesday shows. I think we mentioned it the end of last season, but starting this season, we are starting the Wednesday shows at 9:30 in order to accommodate Mac, who has rejoined us. Not quite full time yet. I remember him mentioning that his work schedule is still going to be shaking going forward, but he has stated that he's going to be a permanent fixture on the program this season going forward, and he needs a half an hour to make sure he's here.
As far as
That
MSP, I don't know.
MSP's on ice right now.
Yeah.
Whenever Mac wants to revive that, he'll tell us. Um, whatever goes on with MSP, that's not affecting my show. So, yeah, no, I I couldn't say like it's not dead. It's just I think Mac needs to get he wants to get um, certain things taken care of before he can return. It's also there was kind of a production breakdown on that program, um, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, coming up next Sunday, in terms of reviews, we'll be tackling Insidia and Debris. More on those as the week progresses. And until Tuesday, I wish you good gaming.